Yo, what up?
Get wicked here.
How's it going, everybody? So, Warren's helping me film some stuff today in his basement, which is where I'm recording. So I'm going to take you through a couple of things in my setup. I hope you like this. So, basically, I'm using Cubase. I've already maxed it out in terms of tracks, I believe. I think I hit 107 tracks, but I think I can handle it. I was having a hard drive problem. I was using a small hard drive, which was bus powered through FireWire 800, but I was starting to have problems, and so now I got this other separate drive, a terabyte, which is separately powered. Yeah, I'm running everything off of a MacBook Pro, and I forgot my Cubase key today, so I can't actually record. Which is a drag. I hate when they make keys for their stuff. But, oh well, I mean, it is what it is. The interface I'm using is a RME Babyface, which I'm using the optical input on it, which is connected to my preamp down here. I'm using a Focusrite Octopre MK Mark II Dynamic. I really like it. It's got individual compressors on every channel. I'm using, as you can sort of see here, I don't know if you can read that. I got kick. I'm using I got kick, sub kick, snare drum, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overhead left, overhead right. These four are all phantom powered. This one is phantom powered also separately. These three have no phantom power. I decided to go the whole way and get a sub kick, and I'm kind of glad I did. Never used one before, but I'm happy with the results. Like I said, this is all going through an optical cable, fiber optics, into my Babyface. 8 channels, all on one cable. I really like it. It's very useful. I have the second cable here as an output from it, so I'm probably going to do some reamping with my DI signals. Yeah, so 48 volts on these 4 channels. I'm recording everything in 48 kilohertz. I'm using 24-bit, highest quality you can get. If I wanted to go higher quality, I can go up to 96K on this. This thing can take 192 kilohertz, but I can only get 4 channels on 96K, and I need to get, so I can only get 4 channels on optical cable on 96K, and so I'd rather, and I still only has 1 input for an optical cable. I'm forced using this preamp to do the 48 kilohertz, so I get all 8 channels on 1 preamp cable, or sorry, on 1 optical cable. That's my preamp. All my mics are going to this. This is my snake that's going out to my my drum set. Yeah, so I might as well talk about the drums. In terms of mics, I'm using, as overheads, I'm using AKG C1000S's. I'm using an XY pattern. I did the best I could. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the perfect XY. My audio engineering teachers at school are probably going to be all, you didn't do it perfect, but whatever, like, that's what it is. Yeah, I got XY up here. For snare drum, I'm using this mic, SM57, Garnelli Labs custom, or not, is it custom? I guess you could consider it custom, but they sort of knocked it in half, and so you got the nice 45-degree angle on it, so you can get it in all sorts of nice places. In terms of tom mics, I've only mic'd up 3 toms. This last tom here, I unfortunately couldn't fit a 4th tom mic. I technically could have if I decided to not use a sub kick, but since I put the sub kick in there, I had to take 1 mic out because I only have 8 channels on the preamp. So this tom is just being, you're gonna probably hear it in the background. But yeah, I'm using AKG C518Ms on small tom, mid tom, and first floor tom. Yeah, I'm using Zildjian hardware. I'm not really sponsored by any of these companies. I'm not sure if they're going to make any money off this. I recommend if you do buy products, make sure it's good. Make sure it's what you want. Maybe these sound a way that some people don't want, but it's just, I bought these cymbals a couple of years ago and I finally got around to recording with them. This is my favorite cymbal right here. Lash. Cameraman got me this cymbal. When we went on our first recording, he chipped in when we had our disaster recording session in Gravenhurst. Like, it's technically, it was a good learning experience, but I mean, that's what Warren chipped in to buy. I spent a bunch of money on food from when we went up. So like I said, this is my favorite cymbal. It sounds really badass. It's called a Lash. Oh yeah, I have Right here, my ride cymbal is I'm not sure what the exact dimension. 20-inch Earth Ride. Really cool sounding cymbal. Normally I would use a 20-inch projection ride. I like it, but this sounds pretty. It's got that fat tone, which I like. The nice hard ping. Over here we have a Sabian, little small Sabian China. I have a medium crash, 15-inch, 16-inch is my first cymbal ever. 16-inch crash, a custom, 8-inch splash. My 14-inch projection hi-hats. A 12-inch chopper. Sounds sort of weird. Sort of a fast attack type cymbal. Very nice. Here I always will hit these. So here we go. Splash, and I got 14-inch crash, and a 15-inch crash. I really like this one. It's nice bright sound. I use this cymbal very sparingly. I think about taking it off. It's sort of in the way. Whenever I try to hit it, I always whack my hand here. So don't know if I'm. Sorry, I use 6-inch. Is it a 6-inch? 6-inch, 8-inch. Yeah, it's 8-inch. This is one of my favorite China. Nice trash, and then a smaller version. Up top, I got a Rezo crash, big fatty. You know, it's pretty cool. I'm not sure how I feel about it in comparison to the others. It's a slightly different tone. I have a smaller version of it too, but I just wanted something really big and heavy so I could hit a lot. Yeah. My favorite splash is really bright sound. And my snare drum is a John Craviotto Signature Series handcrafted solid steel snare by DW. I'm not sure if it's tuned right now. Every time I hit it a couple times, it goes out of tune. What I did, I was instructed. I asked a couple people in the industry, the live sound industry, what to do about when your snare drum lugs slip and when other lugs slip. So they instructed me to get Teflon tape and wind the windings with Teflon tape, and that fixed the problem. So if you're having problems with your snare drum, try to get Teflon tape wrapped around the lugs, because it'll add a lot more grip and friction into where the threading goes, into where the threading is, and you'll not have as much problem with the lug slips. I also have little plastic nylon washers all over the place. I'm not too sure about the big difference that they made, but I mean, anything makes a difference. So right down here, I don't know if you can see down here, I'm using a kick drum trigger. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. It's actually going to my brain right down here, which is a little just crappy old Roland V-Drum's brain. I used to use those in the days with Silent Earth. I use it a lot in practice. And that's all I need to do is I'm really thankful that the interface I'm using has a MIDI inputs, because this way I can use triggers. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that Babyface you can't really use. You know, they don't like how it has the MIDI inputs on it. I'm very happy with it because now I can use triggers in addition to recording 8 tracks of drums. I think that's a bonus. I'm using Iron Cobras. I mean, it's a pretty standard pedal. There's obviously better pedals, but there's obviously worse pedals. I mean, this gets the job done. It's what I have right now. So, in the meantime, I'm happy with it. Yeah, I guess drum heads. I'm using Power Stroke 3s. I think. Yeah. Coated an Ambassador on the snare. So why don't we go around the other side and check out what I got on the bass drum. Alright, so I bought a sub kick. I'm happy I did. I'm going to use it a lot in the future. Captures 50 Hz to 2K. I also have an AKG D112. I was trying to get an Audix D6. I was taught in school, and I heard a lot of good reviews about it. Mainly that you don't need to EQ it barely, since it just sounds so good straight out of the mic. But I didn't have one, and I could have bought one, but I didn't. So since I had one of these lying around, I decided to stick it on. That's what I have for my bass drum. You're going to hear the bass drum sound I got, which I'm pretty happy with. Over here I have my first tom, which is coming into just phantom power supply. That's what I got over here. Little art accessories thing. Sort of expensive, but I mean, whatever. I needed it. Yeah, I mean, that's my drum setup. So you're gonna hear what I got with this sound on the recordings. So let me show you what I got over here on guitar. All right, so I basically recorded all the guitar with this bad boy. My little Dean, my little star. Thank you, Dimebag, for being alive. I'm recording in drop C, or not drop C, open C, and I've tuned to 432 hertz. It's more mathematical in terms of spiral, in terms of frequencies. The way I see it, the notes hit harder, and besides, the mass media tunes to 440 hertz. I see something wrong with that. It's like a consciousness thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, it's just it gets me thinking. 432 hertz. I like it. It just hits, you know. For guitar, I'm coming out of this Dimebag into my Invader 100 angle, going into the standard cab. Initially I was recording with an SM57, mic in sort of a similar way. I took the grill off because it was resonating. And then I switched over to Sennheiser 421. I like the tone. I'm using over here an Eventide time factor for delay. So yeah, for delay I'm using a time factor. I really like it. So that's pretty good distortion sound coming out of this. Everything I have, the guitar is DI'd. I really like using a DI because I record the DI channel separately on a separate input. I record DI on channel 2, the guitar mic on channel 1. I mean, every time I record drums, I have to switch over my two connections from my guitar amp and my DI connection to my sub kick and my D112. I just only have 8 inputs. I use all 8 inputs for the drums. I mean, come this far, I might as well use all 8 inputs. I was going to record no toms, but then I was listening to it and I was like, I've come this far, why would I not record toms? So I did. Yeah, everything. So I really like the DI because initially I didn't really realize that my amp actually had a tuner output on the back, and all professional amps should. So I'm glad that I finally found that, because now I can just take a separate output for the amp, and even when it's on standby, I can still use my tuner. And I was going to buy a Peterson Strobo Rack tuner to get some really tight precision on it, but it took them about 4 weeks to get it ordered in. So by that time I was already using this thing, and I initially ordered it because I didn't really realize this thing could go to 432 hertz. Most tuners can't. This I guess is a slightly better one. So I'm using this thing for all my tuning. I mean, it is what it is. I could get a better tuner, but in the meantime, it's working. So yeah, for DI I'm using a radial JDI Jensen transformer inside that one. So it's just re-outputting the guitar signal straight in. My effects loop is a separate loop on the back of the amp that's coming into my delay pedal. And yeah, it's pretty much guitar. In terms of recording theremin, which I haven't recorded yet, when I bust this thing out, when I bust this thing's ass, I mean, it's going right into channel 3. It sounds like this. And this is channel 4. I was using channel 4 mostly for most of the distortion tracks. So slightly more trebly, or sorry, slightly more of a warm tone. A little bit less crunch, but a little bit more sort of lower mids, a little bit more lows. So when I do theremin, I do some screaming with the theremin. It's going straight into a delay, straight into channel 3. For some reason, I always play with depth, punch, and presence full. And when I use distortion, I always have the gain up all the way. I don't know, maybe I think everyone does that though, right? I think that's pretty standard. Yeah, this is a really good amp. I mean, it was sort of expensive when I bought it. I had some issues with the tubes. I did in fact get one of the pre-tubes changed to a JJ Tesla, which I was really happy about. I didn't know what kind of work Tesla did. If he makes a tube to get my amp, I'm gonna be stoked on that, and I was. It was an instant difference, and I was having on the clean channels all sorts of crackling noises. I think in relation to the soldered connections on some of the pre-tubes. And I took it in once to get fixed, and they fixed it. And a couple weeks later, I had to take it again to get fixed. It's sort of a drag, but I mean. When they put the tube in, the other Tesla tube, everything changed, and I was really happy with it. So this is how I got my distortion sound. Like I said, I used SM57 for most of the beginning tracks of Navigator, the first of the songs. 25-minute one. I think it's about 25 minutes. And SM57, I like the tone of it. 421 is a good tone too. It's a little bit more low end. I think the diaphragm's a little bit wider, so it's picking up some lower frequencies. But yeah, SM57, you can't really go wrong. It's a good mic. Every so often, I always use string cleaner. I don't know, whatever string cleaner brand you like. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is all I had, so I use these. Makes a difference. Get all that stupid grime off. For my brand of coffee, I drink Standard brand. I don't know, whatever brand, it doesn't matter. Coffee apparently decreases your blood flow to your brain, so I'm using it sparingly. I always used to drink coffee when I play drums, but I get really good at doing it, so I'm going to do it again today. I bought this mouse. It's a special orthopedic mouse. It was expensive, and I bought it because I thought that I was having problems with my wrists. Since when I was initially started practicing drums, I was off drums for a couple months, and I started getting back on. I was having some troubles because I was trying to play too hard too fast, and I didn't really realize I had to go way slow, and I had to do like the simple, just really, really slow. I didn't really realize that was my problem until I got over it, and then I realized I bought this mouse for nothing. But still, I mean, it doesn't make you strain your, when you're using a mouse, you normally strain a bunch of your wrist muscles, and so when you're doing a lot of guitar, you're doing a lot of drums. I mean, if you have a mouse that you don't have to go into that position very often, it frees up your muscles, so when you can use them for what counts, guitar and drums. Acoustic guitar I recorded at my place. I used these two mics. I'll probably do a separate video on how I recorded an acoustic guitar, but I just used those two mics going into two PreSonus tube pre's. In sort of a space pair. If you look at me on the space pair, I had the mics pointed at the guitar into the sound hole, sort of like this. I was using a Parker acoustic. I wasn't using the DI. I don't like the DI sound. I used a couple 12s. I used a 12 string. Just get a couple tracks of those. I used a nylon string. My Parker the 6 string. Just layered all these tracks, many tracks. And I used tambourine. Recorded in a pretty similar way. I recorded my vocals with an AKG C414. I do my death vocals. I was going to use a 58, but whatever. I had better mics, so I decided to use it. not warmed up at all, man. I should warm up before that.